Welcome to Second Impression Podcast. I'm your host, R.A.P, aka Rhythm and Poetry. Today's guest is an MP Productions editor and producer that goes by the name of MrRhythmic.
Well, thank you for having me.
All the applause. All of the applause. Thank you for coming on, man. It's awesome to have you on the show.
Well, thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be on here.
No problem at all. So now we're going to go into the interview. First things first, introduce yourself to the listeners and let them know where they could find you.
All right. Well, my name is Eric St. George, aka MrRhythmic. You can find me on Instagram under MrRhythmic, YouTube, same name. Uh, I come from a small town, born really in North Bay, but not long after that, I moved to Sudbury. So really, I'm a Sudbury boy. Um, it's not really much to know about me. I love music. I love working with music in any way, editing the music, making the music, or even just playing the music. It's just something I'm really passionate about. And, I'm glad to have an opportunity to talk and work with people that have the same passion.
Oh, man. When you said come from a small town, the way you said it just made me think of like a starting of a song. You got to make a song with a starting like that, like come from a small town.
Yeah. Well, a lot of songs do start like that. Just give a little backstory. But oftentimes, you're right. It is a small town.
Man, before we get in the interview, that actually reminds me of this. I think it was a song. It's either a song or a story. I think it's a song about this guy who broke up with his girlfriend or something like that, and he couldn't get away from her because they were in a small town. So literally everywhere he went, this chick was there constantly.
Hmm.
Like he tried to hang out with this dude. This girl was hanging out with this dude. He tried to go to the movies. This girl was at the movies. He tried to go to the pizza shop. This girl was at the pizza shop. Like she was always just
That's
around.
hilarious.
All right.
That's different though. It's hilarious.
So this leads me to the first question of our interview. How did you come up with the name MrRhythmic?
Um, you know, uh, it just came to me just one day, and I pitched it to a very good friend of mine. I'm sure you know him. Uh, I think we were playing video games, and it just came to me, Mr. Rhythmic, because to me personally, I feel like that's something I developed really well in all the years of playing and making music is I've have a rhythm for things. I could find the rhythm in a lot of songs I listen to. So I figured why not just Mr. Rhythmic? It seems fitting to me and it seems appropriate. It's not
That's
not really much.
that's definitely a unique name. And I I did enjoy it when you pitched it to me. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I find that's a really dope name, MrRhythmic, and um, it makes me just think of like when we were trying to do a producer tag for you. It made me think of Pokemon for some reason, like Mr. Mime or some shit like that, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I could see that now that you mention it.
All right. So I'll move on to the second question. What kind of vibes can people expect while listening to your music or any of your beats?
Oh my god. That's it's a really tough question because honestly, the type of vibes I give out is just whatever I'm feeling at the moment of making my songs. So a lot of it could be dark and eerie if, say, I'm feeling more sad than usual or upset. But it could also go to the opposite end where it's really happy and bouncy and it just makes you want to, go outside, enjoy the sunshine, and dance a little bit. But honestly,
So
it ultimately just really depends on how I'm feeling and what kind of emotions I want to portray in the music I want to make at that time.
hmm. So yeah, I guess it would be more of like you're very versatile in the beats you could create, and you're more of like a conduit for emotion, I guess you could say, kind of thing, because you're just like, well, whatever you're feeling just
Yeah,
kind of
yeah, you could definitely say
bl-
that.
blasts out of you in a way, kind of thing, and then you're just like, boom, here's a happy beat, here's a sad beat, here's a dramatic beat, like all over the spectrum kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's how I try to make most of my music, because I don't just want it to be random sounds. I want the person listening to feel with the song, whether it's with lyrics or without, you know? Like I want them to feel it.
I could appreciate that as an artist because sometimes people send me beats and I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Right, right.
Cool. So I'm going to move on to the next question. Question three. How did you get into photography and photo slash video editing and stuff like that?
Honestly, I just jumped into it. I just honestly jumped right into it because growing up, I've always had a creative side. So I always drew when I was younger. I did poetry. Then I jumped into music. But, it was just something that I thought of I would be good at. So I attempted it and I started to really enjoy it. And so I just dove deeper when I decided to go a step further and see if I could take videos and try to edit it. And I started liking that a lot. So I figured, why not put some more time into it, do some more research as what I could do to improve myself, what kind of equipment I need. And it's just something I'm really interested in. And I'm really glad I decided to do it because it's something I would like to
Nice.
continue doing.
It's always dope to know like what you're passionate about, but it always feels really good to kind of like almost like trip backwards into a passion that you didn't know was like fully ignited, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Dope. Cool. So I'll move on to the next question. Question four. If you could sit down and work with one producer or artist, who would it be and why?
100%. I think it would be Eminem. Because, well, I was a little kid. I'm fairly certain that he was the first hip hop artist that I ever listened to when I switched from listening to old rock that my parents would make me listen to, like Loverboy. And then I developed my own taste, and that's when I found Eminem. And I just fell in love with the way just his general vibe. He's such a good lyricist. He makes ever since he started his production line or his studio, he makes really dope beats, and it's so different that I just drew inspiration from him, and I would just love to sit with him and pick his brain to see like how he comes up with such simple beats that are so effective and powerful. You know, like I would just love to see his process and how he works and really learn from it, because to me he's just one of my all-time favorites. There's no one who can beat him no matter what. But that's just my opinion. That could be very controversial for some people, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, everybody's allowed to have an opinion, that's for sure.
Yeah,
But
of course.
one thing too that I always touch on, I think I actually talked about this a little bit in the first episode with Gen X. Um, a lot of people don't actually really know that Eminem has been a producer actually before he even met Dr. Dre. He has a producer credit on a Tupac song. He has a producer credit on a Biggie Smalls song. The song "Dead Wrong" that features Eminem and Biggie Smalls was released after Biggie Smalls passed away, and major portion of the production was actually done by Eminem himself.
Wow, I honestly did not know that.
Yeah, he's like even before he met Dr. Dre, he was doing production. When Dre found him, he was rapping and he was producing songs at the same time as well.
Wow, crazy. And could I add something to my answer?
Yeah, of course, man.
Because there is one other person that I did think about that is actually pretty much on the same level as Eminem with me, and that would be Tech Nine. He's just
Mm,
insanely incredible.
yeah,
Like that's all I could say is just yeah.
I definitely have to agree with that. I remember like a few years ago seeing a video and hearing a few songs of him in the old days when he was in the lunchroom or the cafeteria or whatever, and he would do the beating on his chest and hitting the table. It was like making beats just by doing that, and that's how he would like start off rapping. He would just freestyle, no beats. He would just make a beat with himself by banging on his chest and just slapping the table and shit.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah, just like a nice little simple percussive beat with anything around you.
Yeah, Tech Nine
Like
is so intricate with the stuff that he makes. Like even when he breaks down, I talk a lot about matching your syllables from bar to bar and stuff like that. Like having the same amount of syllables in one line as you do in the other line makes the flow sound a lot better. And Tech Nine does that with literally the first line all the way to the last line of his songs. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. So I'll move on to question number five. If you could choose any city to perform in, which would it be and why?
Phew, that's a tough question. That is very tough. Because like I've never actually had any live performance done before. It was only really like in school, and that was an epic fail. I didn't even say one word. The first word came out just blank, and I messed it all up because the nerves were too wound up.
Hmm.
So honestly, like it's a really hard answer, but I would probably have to say it would be my hometown where most of my family is, so that they can come and see me for a first show.
Hmm.
So definitely, I would say Sudbury. It wouldn't really matter what kind of venue, but for that would definitely be a place where I would want to go, just so that most of my family could come, and they're close by. They don't have to spend too much money to come see me traveling, and it would just be a great inspiration to have the family there.
Yeah. Oh, I could definitely vibe with that, man. So yeah, I'll move on to the last question for the interview. So it's question number six. What are your plans for your future in music currently?
Just develop my craft as much as I can. I'm still trying to figure out my signature sound, because I'm quite all over the place. Because, like I said, I just go off how I feel that day, and my moods can fluctuate very quickly. So I'm still trying to figure out exactly how I want my own sounds to be. So for the future, would definitely be try to find my own sound, and you know get more collaborations with people that I've been listening to lately and all that, and see if we can learn from each other and just generally get myself more out there and work with more people.
I think that's definitely a good idea, and it's never a bad idea to figure out your identity and who you are as an artist before like really kind of hammering down and going out there, right? Because at the end of the day, your platform isn't only your platform for you to put music out and connect with like your art, not your artists, sorry, but your fans and stuff. It's
Hmm.
also a way for people to see you, like you as a person, you, your personality, like how you act, how you portray yourself, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's why right now my music is kind of all over the place. You'll have like some really good trap style music, and then it'll go to like a nice reggaeton, and then it's suddenly drill, and then it's orchestral. I think it's all like that because I'm still trying to figure out like what style I would like to veer more, like it's more my style
Hmm.
in a way, if that makes any sense.
It definitely does for sure. All right, so that's going to conclude our interview for today. Hopefully, that got you guys to know Mr. Rhythmic a little bit more. Now we're going to be moving on to the next segment of the show, which is called Quiz the Wiz. So
Let's do
essentially,
it.
if you've never watched the show before, what happens during this segment is that before the show, we get three categories from our guest that they deem to be knowledgeable in. And then we make a little quiz show for them. We give them 9 questions, and yeah, we see how they do.
Oh, let's hope I do good.
Um, Man, I smoke a lot of weed, so I can't remember off the top of my head what the current high score is. For some reason, the number five is coming to my head, but I think that's the highest anybody's gotten on this show so far. Is 5 questions, right?
All right, well, let's see if we can break that.
All right. So our three categories today are camping, metal music, and Dragon Ball Z.
Let's
Are you
do
ready?
it. Let's do it.
All right. So, question number one is a camping question. So in 2018, what was the number one camping purchase in Canada? Was it a sleeping bag, B, tents, C, backpack, or D, flashlight?
Hmm. I mean, honestly, it could really be any of them because you need every single piece.
It's true.
Um, but I mean, like, I'm thinking of tent, but not all camping requires a tent. You know what I mean? Because you can have an RV,
Hmm.
depending on yourself. So, one thing I think I'm gonna go with backpack because you're always gonna need something if you're going for a walk. You need a bag or something to carry all your supplies with you.
Okay, is that your final answer?
Yes. Ah,
That is incorrect, unfortunately. The correct answer in 2018, the number one camping purchase in Canada was a flashlight.
really?
Yep, flashlights were the most purchased things for camping in that year, apparently.
Hmm.
It's
I
also
wonder
possible
why.
that in 2017, everybody got themselves set up with tents and sleeping bags and backpacks, and they were missing flashlights. So the year after, they
Well,
just needed a flashlight.
there you go.
All right, so we'll move on to question number two. This is a metal music question. What infamous frontman is known for biting the head off a live bat while on stage?
That would be Mr. Black Sabbath himself, Ozzy Osbourne.
Is that your final question or answer? Is that your final answer?
It is my final answer.
That is correct. It is Ozzy Osbourne. Psycho. Psycho.
Psycho, psycho.
Cool. So we'll move on to question number three. It's a Dragon Ball Z question.
Let's
What
do it.
two Dragon Ball Z characters took up a total of 3.5 hours of screen time while fighting, making the longest fight in anime history?
That would be Goku and Frieza.
Is that your final answer?
It is.
God damn. This guy's just rolling through the
Ciao.
questions right now.
Ka-chow.
Okay, so we're going to go to question number four. This moves back to camping. 64% of RV owners are from which country? Hint, they often use their RVs in the winter.
Often use the RVs in the winter. Hmm. Wow. Okay, can you repeat the question? 64%?
64% of RV owners are from which country?
Which country? Eh? Oh boy. Now, see, here's where I might look like an idiot because sometimes I can't differentiate like provinces and countries. I'm very bad at that. Hmm. So honestly, I don't really know what to say here. Wisconsin.
That is a state in the country of the United States.
I'm telling you, I'm gonna look like a fool with this question.
You just got to throw any country out there. Just throw a country out there.
Canada?
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
That is
Oh my
correct.
god. That's that's embarrassing.
Yeah,
I got it
so
right.
64% of RV owners are from Canada and they often use their RVs in the wintertime.
Hmm.
Yep.
I kind of figured it would be somewhere up north because the first thing I thought of when they said in the winter, I figured like ice fishing.
Hmm.
But
Those would be ice huts and not considered
yeah,
RVs.
yeah, I know. I thought that's why I
Bro.
said it in my head.
I just pictured an RV with a fucking ice fishing hole right through the middle of the freaking laneway. Everybody's just in the kitchen, all crouched around trying to catch some fish for supper.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it is doable. Like
It
people
is.
drive their trucks and all that on the lake, so a small enough, like if you have just a small RV and you could rig yourself a little porthole underneath or a hatch, and you could easily just auger your way through the hole and just fish from your RV.
Man, if you were really like that desperate to do it, I think you could probably fish through your toilet bowl into the septic tank through the ice.
Oh God. Yeah, but then you can't really eat what you pull out.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Well, it all goes back to one place anyway, so it doesn't matter. But we're gonna move on
Yep.
to question number five, which goes back to metal music. Um, so the question is, What band is credited with having the only film on IMDb to be rated out of 11 and not 10? So what's the name of the band?
Um, Motley Crue.
Is that your final answer?
No. Mm, because now that's the only band that popped into mind, but now I'm having others. You said movie, right?
Yep.
Like biopic movies?
They only
Like
specify film.
film. Okay. Oh boy. Okay, that complicates things a little bit for um because I don't know many films from like the music part. I know like Pink Floyd did one, Motley Crue did one, Queen did one, and that's the only ones I could really think of. Um, but I think I'm gonna go with the Motley Crue film.
Okay. Is that your final answer?
Yes. Mm,
That is incorrect, unfortunately. The answer to this question, so the band that is credited with having the only film on IMDb to be rated out of 11 and not out of 10 is Spinal Tap, and their movie is called This Is Spinal Tap.
wow.
Yeah,
Hmm.
Spinal Tap.
I actually forgot about that band. Now that you mention it, I haven't heard from about them in a long time.
Yeah, it's not like the only film, like musical film. It's actually the only film period that is rated out of 11 and not 10.
Really?
Yeah,
Hmm.
crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. So yeah, we'll move on to question number 6. This goes back to Dragon Ball Z. So this is a multiple choice question. How old is Majin Buu? A, 25, B, 150 years old, C, 5,420 years old, or D, 5 million?
D.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
That is correct. Are you sure it's not 5,420?
Oh, I'm absolutely sure.
Imagine they made him that age.
Yeah, that would be funny.
All right, we know
Too
something's
specific.
going on here. All right, so we'll move on to question number 7. This goes back to camping. True or false question. The first official recipe for s'mores was featured in the 1927 Girl Scouts manual. True or false?
Mm, true.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
That is true.
Oh. Oh my god.
1927 is when the first official
Wow.
s'mores recipe came out.
Wow. Well, what did they use beforehand?
I don't really know, and that's kind of fucking messed up. Like, I when you think 1927, okay, that was like almost 100 years ago. But when
Yeah.
you think of
Wow.
s'mores, that feels like something that could have been made like hundreds of years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because it's
Weird.
very simple. Like, I'm sure chocolate's been around for longer than that. And I don't know about marshmallows and the gram, but
Yeah, now I'm on. I think after this episode, I might actually Google when marshmallows were made because I fucking love marshmallows, and now I'm curious.
yeah.
All right, we'll move on to question number 8. This goes back to metal music. What is considered as the number one metal song of all time?
Oh my god. I feel like I know the answer, but I don't want to jump the gun too quick. The greatest metal song of all times. Whew. Um, I get no hints, right?
No, because this one
Hmm.
is very obvious. That's
Very
probably the
obvious.
only hint that I could give you on that.
Uh, See, the thing is, at this point in my life, I love metal music, but I haven't been listening to it as often as I'd like to because I've been so focused on my other aspect of music.
Of course. Well,
So,
if I could give you a hint, it's an older song. It's not a newer one.
I was gonna say, like, can you give me a year so that I can have a reference of how far back I need to go?
Before the 2000s. It's not in the year 2000.
So in the night, okay. Well, I'm gonna have to go with the first thing that popped into my head. Master of Puppets by Metallica.
Is that your final answer?
Well, I don't know. Based on how you just asked me that, I'm unsure now. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go with that.
Ooh.
It's the only thing I could think of.
You're gonna hate yourself when I tell you what the answer to this
I
is.
probably will.
All right. So, what is considered as the number one metal song of all time? Well, that, my friend, would be Iron Man by Black Sabbath.
Ah, you know what's
Wow.
funny? I had Crazy Train in my head, but I knew that was wrong. But at least I was closer than Master of Puppets. But you know what? I'll tell you this. At least I had the right era,
Yeah, you did have the right era, that's for
like
sure.
like song release and everything.
That's true. We decided to stick with the Ozzy Osbourne Black Sabbath train over here.
Yeah, pull the old twisteroo on me.
All right. This, my friend, is the final question. And this is a Dragon Ball Z question. And it's a true or false question. So you got a 50-50 shot here.
All right,
True or false? There are no female Namekians.
true.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
That's true. My sound effect didn't work the
Yes.
first time. I just clicked it, but that's fine.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, it's true. Since they reproduce asexually by giving birth to eggs through their mouth, there is no need for females. They are all male.
That is correct.
All they do is throw up eggs, my friend.
Yes, sir. Like a bunch of weirdos.
All right, so we're gonna tally up your score. What do you think you got from 0 out of 9?
Either 5 or 6.
All right, well, let's figure this out. We're gonna get
6.
a drum roll going on. Damn, you did get 6. We have to give you the cheering because you have
Yeah,
set
boy.
the new record as far
Awesome.
as my stoner brain can remember. The new record on this show, officially for everybody listening, is now 6 questions correct on the trivia show set by MrRhythmic on this date and time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome, man. Well, that was Quiz the Wiz. I hope everybody had fun playing along if they did. And if you didn't, it's cool you just listened as well. Always good to learn something. We're going to take a break and listen to a beat by our guest. This is Darkness Falls by MrRhythmic. Let's check it out. Welcome back. Once again, that was Darkness Falls by MrRhythmic. Now we're going to be moving on to the final segment of the show. This segment's called Do You Remember? This kind of has the same core concept of Quiz the Wiz. Before the show, we get a category or a topic from our guest, and we just sit back and throw back about it. So today's segment, chosen by MrRhythmic, is hockey. So do you want to start us off with like a hockey story or something you remember from the hockey days?
I remember being good. Nowadays, it's being older, it's a little bit of a different story. Um, but I have so many fond memories of my early teen years, just playing hockey with the boys, having tournaments, making some new friends, and just I don't know that it's just a portion of my life I'll never forget. It's a sport I absolutely love. The bonds you end up creating with some people is just astonishing, and it's crazy how your world can just change the moment you step onto that ice fully geared and ready to go.
It's true.
Like,
I find like it's almost the I guess Canadian equivalent of like being a gladiator almost, Like people make jokes all the time that like, man, you don't like watching hockey, you don't like watching two teams of men with razors on their feet and weapons in their hands sometimes punch each other and try to get the puck in the fucking net. You know what I mean? Like that's
yeah, man,
that's
like
entertainment
it's
watching it, and it's a completely different um atmosphere just to be on the ice. I totally agree with that.
yeah, like it's you're in your own little world. You like I always kept my cool. I was always a patient person on and off the ice, but on the ice was where it was the most evident. Because like we'd play a lot of teams where you'd have those little nitpickers who like to slash you and, get you right between the groin from behind and then hit you in the back of the head in the back. Um, and they would always try to nitpick me because I was always one of the smallest people on the team. Like, I'm only 5'6", so on skates I'm 5'7". That's really small, about 130 pounds. But yeah, everyone would try to push me around. But I would always just have the patience. If he hits me wrong, I don't retaliate because I know at the moment I do, I'm the one who's going to get it thrown into the penalty box.
Yeah.
So my natural instinct would be, it's like, okay, I turn around, I see his number, whoever hit me, number 20. It's like, okay, well, I'll keep that in mind. So next time I'm on the ice, if he has the puck and I have a chance, well, he's going to be on the ground.
Yeah, I would have
Yeah,
to say personally, I'm probably the complete opposite. I don't like I never don't get me wrong, I never went out to like hurt somebody or like even hitting from behind. Like yeah, it's a super serious thing for people that don't have
oh
never
yeah.
played hockey or anything like that. You could paralyze somebody for life doing something like that.
Exactly.
So stuff like that. I've never did stuff like that, but I would definitely say that I did retaliate in some cases, and most of the time, like if some shit happened to one of the kids on my team or one of the guys on my team that we would deem like like a little bit weaker or a little bit like not
Yeah,
as
yeah.
great at hockey, I would definitely step in and totally fucking go destroy somebody. You know what I mean? Like I, bro, I've told this story before, and I remember when I got my first penalty. Um, and this is just like I was a little kid. I didn't even know what the hell was going on. I was just playing hockey, and we had a little scrum in the corner kind of thing, and there was
Yeah,
no hitting or anything, right?
yeah,
Um, and anyway, we were in the corner, and I think there was like two people from my team and me, and then two people from the other team, and we're just trying to poke our sticks to like get the puck out, but it's like stuck there, right? And all of a sudden, I come in and I just like I jabbed my stick in there because I was like, I'm just gonna get that puck, and I
yeah.
ended up hitting one of the opponents in the skates, right? And he fell down, and I got a fucking tripping penalty for that. So
Wow.
the ref throws me in the penalty box, and all the parents on my like on our team, they were all cheering and stuff. So like that was my first experience getting a penalty, and at that point as a kid I was processing, I was like, I just did something good, all these people are cheering for me. So
Yeah,
I'm going to
okay,
keep
yeah,
getting
yeah.
penalties, I'm going to keep getting penalties so people can keep cheering for me. And that never fucking happened anymore. When you grow up and you get penalties, nobody thinks it's cute or anything. Everybody's like, yo, this guy
No.
is gonna be in juvie by the time he's fucking 16 years old. You
Yeah,
know what
yeah,
I
oh
mean?
yeah. Oh yeah, we definitely had an enforcer on my team when I used to play for Coniston Flames.
Mm,
And he was the type of guy, like if he was like NHL level enforcer. Like if something happened and he was on the bench and someone started getting rowdy, he would just jump right on the ice, full pin it right towards him and just start nailing him. But like sometimes it was a little rough to watch because like he kind of lost his cool. But we had other people that were level headed enough to be able to take him off and like like no, like it's not worth it. We'll save it for someone who really deserves it.
yeah.
But this guy was crazy and I loved it. When you played with him, he hyped you up, because he was ready for anything. So like if you're like, not really feeling it, you could just look at him and he's like he's ready to go take on anybody. Like I don't care if you're twice my size, like I'll take you on. And it's like, you know what? It's like let's go. Like now I'm inspired to like let's do this.
Yeah.
Like,
You gotta have those people, man, because they put that fire under your ass and they fucking get you going.
Yeah, that's one thing I really miss is like those before the game speeches when your coach just tells everyone to like stop getting dressed, or well, not stop getting dressed. At that point, you should be dressed and ready to go, But like everything's quiet and you're just listening. It's like we're gonna go in there, we're gonna slice their head off, so we're gonna shit down their throats. That's coming from movies. It's exaggerated, but like just that inspiration, and everyone gets up like blah, like all in one, like let's go, get on the ice, nice and warmed up. You start synergizing, da da da. You get in your groove, and then you just have fun, right?
Yeah. It's so funny
Like,
because my stepdad coached me in almost every fucking year of hockey I played. And this guy was that type of person to scream shit like that in the locker room to get you pumped up. And we're playing in Pee Wee. We're playing in like fucking we're like 13, 14 years old, like you know what I mean? And we're all sitting
yeah.
there and this fucking 40-year-old grown ass man is telling us to fucking murder these other 13-year olds, you know what I mean?
Oh my
That's
god.
bro, that's what I'm saying. Like hockey's a different fucking thing, bro.
Oh yeah.
If you look at the two national sports for Canada, hockey and lacrosse, bro, that just shows you how tough Canadians are, bro. Because like
Oh yeah.
we play lacrosse and we fucking smash the shit out of each other. We give each other weapons to beat the crap out of each other with. And then what
Yep.
happens when wintertime comes? We put razor blades on our feet, and then we do the same
Yep.
fucking exact thing, bro. The same exact thing,
Yeah.
dude. Like, oh
Like
man.
that's something I always like try to tell people when they try to compare hockey and football when it comes to intensity. Football, like yes, it is physical, but it's nowhere near the level of hockey. Cuz these guys are just like, 250-pound guys running. I don't know what top speed they go and then hitting each other. Well, take those same guys, same weight, put them on ice and make them go 50 kilometers an hour and hit each other. Like to me, that's a lot more intense than just a guys running into each other. You
The thing
know?
is, though, I find the level of, I guess you would say, like violence and, um, I guess danger. I guess is the only really word I could think about or think for. Oh my god, the only word I could think of um, is like the violence is almost the same between hockey and between football, except for the fact in hockey you could throw your gloves off and literally punch the fuck out of somebody. But
Yeah.
the major key difference, if you want to have an argument about it, is that football, there's a lot of stuff that happens in between. There's a lot of planning, like between plays, I mean, and stuff like that. Whereas
Yeah.
hockey is constant. Hockey is constant. There's still timeouts, there's still intermissions and shit, but you're going out there for fucking 45 seconds, a minute, fucking like, and I know
Oh,
you obviously 100% know this, but like you're going and you're giving your fucking all, you're
yeah.
doing everything, you get back to the bench and you're fucking exhausted, you get to take a whatever amount of time break and then you're back at it again, like
Oh, yeah.
in football, I don't find it's like that. I find there's a lot of time in between plays. There's a lot of time like for people to do shit and stuff, and there's just a lot of fucking standing around. And
Yeah.
that's not me. attacking football because I still like football. I still enjoy watching football from time to time, but it's not like
Hmm.
one sport I can't watch is fucking golf. I will never, you'll never have me sit there, even if I'm 80 or 90 years old, and watch a fucking game of golf on TV. That's absolutely boring as hell to me. And I don't find football in that realm at all. I find football still entertaining, sorry. But like I'm saying, it's the time in between the plays that really kills it for me.
Yeah, I can get that. But to me, like if I talk about like if I take those two same subjects, for me it's flipped right around. I can
Mm,
watch golf, but that's only because growing up my dad really liked golf, so me and him bonded over playing golf, and then he would watch the Masters and I'd watch it with him, and like I didn't mind that, you know? So
mm,
I don't mind golf. But for me, football, I can only play football. I can't
mhm,
watch it for the exact same reason that you were talking about. You have 10 seconds of action and then half hour of commercials and them talking about the players and then planning everything just to have another 12 seconds of running. You know, like to me it's not fast paced enough to watch, but to play I can do. I just can't watch it.
like, once again, not shitting on football, but why do you think they have to give them like 6 or 7 points every time they get a touchdown, like, just to run this fucking score up, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah, it makes it look more intense,
it
right? It's like, oh,
does.
they have 7 points. It's like, yeah, but technically it's like 1 point. Like you guys scored once.
Mm.
Like,
I
but
I
like you said, like I'm not bashing football or anything. It's just not my cup of tea to watch.
Yeah. I feel like, depending where you're from and like what you've experienced in life, that really determines what you'll like as a sport or not like as a sport. Because, like, for example, obviously we all fucking like hockey up here because we're all Canadian, represents our country.
Yeah,
Um, and like, I could even speak like basketball. I played a lot of basketball in like high school. I was on my high school basketball team. Always loved playing with my friends and stuff, but I never like actively watched any basketball game until the year that the Raptors actually won the championship, because that was the first championship not only for like the Toronto Raptors in Toronto, but it was the first championship for Canada ever to come out of there. And it was such
yeah,
a unique experience to be living in Toronto and to like have all this happening around me and have all 3 million plus people that live here all bond over one thing, and everybody forget
yeah,
like their issues and everything that's going on. We're all here together and we're all supporting the same fucking cause. And
yeah,
that created a more personal bond for basketball for me. So that's when I like threw myself more into it and watched every game the following year and made sure I followed everything and stuff. So I feel like that's where your love like for golf comes from, because it reminds you of time with your dad. Like, you
yeah,
have to be able to build that bond or that memory with that sport at the same time, like, you know
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I definitely have a lot of sports I like and don't like, but like we keep saying, at the end of the day, it's not to have any like ill will towards anybody or like to deter them from liking what they like, because everybody could like
hmm,
whatever the fuck they want to like. But it's just
absolutely.
personal preference. I could watch a lot of stuff, um, but like, I like the example you use. Like, I could watch a lot of things, or sorry, I could play a lot of things, but there's not a lot of things I could watch and play at the same time. You know.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And like going back to the hockey talk about like being inspired, and like you said how like your stepdad was always the one like intensifying everything. I remember there was only one year of hockey where it was so bad to the point where I was considering not playing anymore. And
Oh.
that's heartbreaking.
Hmm.
And it was the first year where I joined, or I made the double A team. I didn't make it at first, but halfway through the year, they ended up calling me and saying like, "Oh, we made a mistake. We want to know if you still want to come play with us." And I like absolutely I wanted to, because like I busted my ass in tryouts, going from the slowest skater to one of the top 5 fastest, and like I still didn't make the team because they had favorites.
Hmm.
But I remember we were playing a game, um, and we were losing. And it was to the point, like, I was at that point I was solely a defensive player. I used to play, like, when I was in house league, I used to kind of be all around, like, mainly defense, but if they needed me forward, I could play like every position. But for double A, I was only a defense player. And at one point, we ended up going, or I ended up going against two players alone. So it was two against one. And when they teach you in hockey, you have two options and you have to pick one. You either take out the man with the puck and you leave the goalie worrying about the other guy, or you cover the other guy and you leave the guy with the puck for the goalie, right?
Hmm.
Well, I made the executive decision to go for the guy with the puck. And he ended up doing a little saucer pass just over my stick because he was a little bit behind me. And so I ended up sliding on my stomach and he just saucered it over and it went in. While my coach ended up yelling at me so much that I started, like, not hyperventilating, but like breathing so heavily to the point where, like, I was just so angry. I wanted to turn around and punch him in the face. And, like, even my mom was saying that from the stands across the ice, she could see that I was at my limit because this was going on all game. And in double A hockey, after you're done a game, you start getting undressed, but as soon as the coaches come in and talk, you have to stop everything and listen. Well, I was so fed up that I didn't even stop. I just kept getting undressed, and I remember I started crying on the way out of the room to go see my parents, and they're like, "What's happened?" And I told them, like, I don't want to play hockey anymore. And that broke my mom's heart so much that she went into the dressing room and started yelling at the coaches and, like, basically saying, like, how can you break this child's spirit like that, blah blah blah. He loves this game and he just told me that he doesn't want to play anymore because of how you guys treated him. And I remember her saying that she was yelling at them so much that the coaches, like, didn't even look at her once. They were just looking at the floor because I assumed they knew what they did wrong. But I was so heartbroken at the way they treated me for for how I was playing or whatever. Like, I was doing everything I can, and, like, they benched me a couple shifts because of that decision I made. And other players were making mistakes and they didn't get nothing. But it's just like, I was so heartbroken. Like, it's the most passionate thing I had at that time. Like, hockey was my life, and in an instant, that person made me want to quit and never play again.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's
Like,
I played house league through like my whole, I guess, like hockey career or whatever, and I've seen friends of mine that I played in house league with go to double A and also go to triple A and stuff like that, and almost the same thing happening to them, just because like there's a difference when you have a love for something and you just love being there and love playing it. You have to have a coach that also has that love, because there's too many people who are super competitive because they have nothing. They don't have anything. All they have is to coach this fucking NOHA team or this double A team, so that they have to
yeah,
literally destroy everybody around them just so that they could do stuff or like be more renowned in somebody else's eyes. And my stepdad unfortunately was like that for the most part with a lot of shit that he did. But at the end of the day, we just said it was house league, so it was like, who fucking gives a shit? Like, I'm gonna go out there and take a dump on the ice if I want to. But
yeah, yeah,
um the thing is that growing up and experiencing things like as an adult and as a teenager in my life, I come to realize that those people that do shit like that, they don't have it good anywhere else. Like, their
no,
life at home sucks and their relationships with other people suck, because that's the attitude that they have for the most part in a lot of things in their life. They're just competitive douchebags. That's literally all it is. If you
yeah,
if you could take a kid, no matter what the age is, I would say at least under 17 years old, from
yeah,
whatever zero, not born fucking fetus to fucking 16, 17 years old, if you could take a kid that has a passion and a love for something and completely rip that away from him, you have some serious issues in your life and that are very prominent to other people.
yeah, yeah.
Man, Well, the last thing I'll say before the outro is fuck those people and fuck that guy specifically, whatever his name is. You know who you are.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, all
I'll never
right.
forget his bald head. That's all I gotta say.
Well, I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. I'd also like to thank Mr. Rhythmic for joining us on today's episode. Thank you very much, man.
Thank you for having me. This was fun. I had a really great time.
No problem. We're going to get you on again in the future for sure. So tune in next week to the Second Impression podcast and show with me, R.A.P, and our new guest. Good night, everyone.